Four trial volunteers who got Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine developed Bell's palsy, but FDA denies that the temporary facial paralysis was caused by the shot.
Wait a minute. So wait. See, that's that shit. Peace, love, and light, African people. It's the guy that sings night. This is the Blackest Truth, where I take the not so easy topic of racism, white supremacy, break it down, and make it easier for us to maneuver through. As you all know, I've been reporting on vaccinations and just COVID-19 ever since it rocked all of 2020. I think ever since the beginning of the year. If you are watching this video right now, I'm going to ask you wash your hands as often as possible, carry your hand sanitizer, wear your mask, just go the full length. Now, let's go ahead and get into this story. This was published by Daily Mail, written by Natalie Rahal, U.S. Health Editor, on December 8, 2020, and updated on December 9, 2020. I also would like to point out something that whenever white supremacy puts out a piece of information and a bit of knowledge that reveals something that goes against what its desire is. For example, in the case that these people develop Bell's palsy, they will in subtle ways invalidate the information and say it is not because of this. In all actuality, it's because of some pre-existing notion that already lines up with what's happening. It's subtle right here, viral respiratory infections are considered a risk factor in Bell's palsy, and it can happen to anyone at any time. 4 people who got Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine in a firm's trial developed Bell's palsy, a form of temporary facial paralysis, according to U.S. regulators' report on the shot. Food and Drug Administration, FDA regulators, said there wasn't any clear way that the vaccine caused Bell's palsy, but warned that doctors should watch for the alarming side effect, and Pfizer should continue to keep tab on how many people it strikes. No one knows what exactly causes Bell's palsy, which resolves on its own most of the time. See, most of the time, that don't even sound right. This isn't the first time it's been linked to vaccines, but scientists have ultimately ruled that shots do not trigger Bell's, but in one case, a Swiss flu vaccine that was sold during the 2001-2002 flu season there, then promptly taken off the market. So far, the FDA said that the number of Bell's palsy cases seen in the Pfizer vaccine trials was consistent with the background frequency of reported Bell's palsy in the vaccine group that is consistent with the expected background rate in the general population, and there is no clear basis upon which to conclude a causal relationship at this time, but we'll keep a close watch on future cases. Now let's look at Bell's palsy. What is it? Oh my goodness, check the girl out. 1, it is swelling and inflammation of the nerve. 2, it is a reaction that occurs after a viral infection. So drooping of the mouth, inability to close eyelid, loss of forehead and brow movements, and a couple of risk factors are upper respiratory infection, pregnancy, diabetes, not enough time to rest, and stress. As we can see, some of the actual people that develop this Bell's palsy and how their faces are kind of like slumped over. I think many of us are on the same page, like, nah, it's pretty probable, pretty plausible to look at this and say, folks' face was fine before. They volunteered themselves for something that is still in the works, and it is obvious that this was a response and a reaction of their body. Yeah, I think that's just a pretty safe bet to say, but okay. For shits and giggles, we're just going to say that it was not the vaccine, and it was, in fact, some unknown cause, and perhaps this already viral infection, respiratory something. The 4 cases of Bell's palsy were the only side effect that the FDA saw as imbalance, with more occurring in the vaccine group than the placebo group, and fewer than 0.5% of the trial participants had serious side effects. Among the 4 people who developed Bell's palsy, 1 saw facial paralysis or weakness within 3 days after they received the shot, but the participant's face returned to normal about 3 days after that. Yeah, they over here on the cool just warning people, okay, so y'all face gonna go numb for like 3 days, and then after those about 7 days, y'all be good. That's really what they say on the cool. A second person developed Bell's palsy 9 days after receiving the shot, and the other's faces grew weak 37 and 48 days after vaccination, respectively. Each of those 3 recovered from the facial paralysis in 10 to 21 days. Bell's palsy comes on sudden suddenly and looks alarmingly like a stroke. Most sufferers notice that one side of their face starts to droop and the muscle grows weak. In rare cases, both sides of the face may become temporarily paralyzed. Some people also become more sensitive to sound, usually in the ear corresponding with the side of the face that's drooping. Others lose their sense of taste, get headaches, or develop pain around the jaw or ear of the affected side of their heads. Bell's palsy is also known as acute peripheral facial palsy of unknown cause. As made plain by its name, doctors don't know exactly what causes it. It can strike at any age and drag on for weeks, but almost always resolve on its own over weeks or months, so there aren't any particular treatments. Each year, about 40,000 people in the U.S. develop Bell's palsy. Put another way, about 1 in every 60 to 70 people will suddenly find their face paralyzed at least one over the course of their lifetimes. There are some patterns to who tends to get Bell's palsy. It's more common in pregnant women, especially during their third trimester or shortly after birth. People with diabetes also are prone to Bell's. Having an upper respiratory infection like the cold or the flu is also a risk factor. As a respiratory infection, it's possible that COVID-19 itself could be a risk factor for the Bell's palsy. Facial palsy was reported in 3 Brazilian COVID-19 patients, at least one person in China, a pregnant woman in Portugal, and in a number of Indian patients. Again, I say, y'all be protected out there. Bell's palsy is thought to happen with swelling and inflammation compress one or more facial nerves, causing patients to lose control of those muscles. Infections including flu, adenoviruses, a common cause of the common cold, mono, chickenpox or shingles, herpes virus, rubella, and hand, foot, and mouth disease have all been linked to Bell's. Scientists think the inflammation these trigger can in turn cause the temporary paralysis. There have also been sporadic reports of people suspecting that inactivated versions of some of these viruses used in vaccines to prevent them cause Bell's palsy. Enough concern has been expressed that scientists have conducted a number of studies to try to work out if the shots really could cause temporary palsy. Investigations of Bell's linked to vaccines for hepatitis B, DTaP, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, herpes, and several flu shots have ultimately concluded the jabs weren't the root cause of Bell's palsy. The one exception was Burner Biotech's nasal flu, an inhaled flu vaccine made and sold in Switzerland. It was made with inactivated flu virus in a form of E. coli, a bacterium commonly used to develop vaccines and pharmaceuticals. But the vaccine used a particular E. coli toxin that scientists think triggered inflammation and caused Bell's palsy in some recipients. Overall, Bell's is unpredictable and common enough that it is thus far doubtful that Pfizer's COVID-19 causes it, but the FDA scientists hinted that if the panel set to meet on Thursday green-lighted, Pfizer may be required to closely track data on whether more vaccine recipients develop the temporary facial paralysis. And that is that. What do y'all think? Was it caused by the vaccination? Was it not caused by the vaccination? As we can see, homegirl right here, I ain't even gonna lie to you, like that ain't even a good look. What do y'all think about that? Leave it down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Like this video, comment down below. I would love to hear exactly what you all have to say and what you think. Is this one of the side effects caused by the vaccine? Do you all believe what the FDA is saying? And do you think it's safe enough to put out? I want to hear from you.